From Camelback Ranch, the two teams that share this facility meet up today. The Dodgers and the Chicago White Sox. Game 3 of spring training. Dodgers off to a nice 2-0 start and getting ready to go under light blue skies. Hope your week is off to a great start. Joe Davis or Hershiser. Alana Rizzo joins us in a moment. The Dodgers win on Saturday with Cody Bellinger in the lineup. They win yesterday with Mookie Betts in the lineup. Today, though, for the first time this spring, we see them both for LA.
And to bring those both together, Mookie Betts 2 days in a row, and we hope during the regular season we see him for a lot of games in a row. And if that is going to be a combination that we get to look at today, they're hitting number 1 and number 3. Betts in the leadoff hole, and then you move to Bellinger in the 3 hole. When you combine both of those guys, when you look at Bellinger and Betts, you're looking at 76 home runs and almost 200 RBIs from last year. These two, a dynamic duo, separated today by Muncy, but they're going to be fun to watch.
Pretty darn good. Should be fun to watch here for the first time in the lineup together. It is the Dodgers and the White Sox. Spring training baseball coming up next on Sportsnet LA.
Clayton Kershaw faced hitters for the first time yesterday, and he is set to make his Cactus League debut sometime next week. Walker Buehler has already faced hitters 3 different times in this spring season. He will be pitching in a Cactus League game on Saturday, guys.
All right, Alana, as the spring training rolls on, Dodgers a couple of games into it. Off to a 2-0 start. Here is Kershaw. I think Chase Utley is down there as well. Chase Utley and Andre Ethier both in Dodger camp today.
I think they're both supposed to be in for about a week, so it'll be nice to see them around and have their influence.
Alex Wood as well, you see down there in the Dodger dugout. He sure was impressive yesterday.
He really was, and you could tell by the interview with Alana how his face had just lit up, and anytime anybody brought up something like a media member at times about the outing in a little bit, he's like, doesn't matter. I feel great. And you know what? It's great not only about the pitch execution, I think he is just lighting up about how healthy he feels with his back.
It's been fascinating to watch his quotes about his standing in the race for the 5th spot in the rotation. It's almost like, and we know Alex, supremely confident guy, but it's almost like in his mind it was never a question he was going to be part of the rotation.
And it might have been part of the negotiation as far as the flavor of, you know, I'm looking for a starting job. I'd like to sign back with you, but I really want to be in that rotation. And yes, my back is healthy. You can see that. Maybe even send videos. I would have if I was in a negotiation with a club and was worried about possible health. It's like, here, watch this. This is how I'm throwing. And so I think Alex Wood was not assured of a starting place, but if you're healthy and throwing the ball away, you know you can, you're going to be in there.
Ross Stripling ready to go today. He'll be the starter for the Dodgers. And this early in the spring, that means 1, maybe 2 innings of work. Also going to see Dylan Floro. Adam Kolarek scheduled to throw an inning today. And several others from the minor league side. Mookie Betts starting in right field. Bellinger in center. First time we get both those guys in the same Dodger lineup this spring. Speaking of lineups, let's see what the White Sox have in store for this one. Adam Engel will lead things off and start in center field. Then it's Danny Mendick. Nicky Delmonico hits third and starts in left. Edwin Encarnacion over from the Yankees doing the DHing out of the cleanup spot. Zach Collins catches. Andrew Vaughn and Nick Madrigal, 2 of the top prospects in the organization, on display today, with Cheslor Cuthbert at third and Blake Rutherford, the right fielder, hitting 9th. So that's what Ross Stripling will face off with. The numbers last year, very representative of what he's been to the Dodgers throughout his career. Very solid bottom line numbers. And then I think the one that speaks mostly to who he is and what he's meant is the split in games out of the bullpen versus start. 17 games out of the pen, 15 in the rotation. Wherever they need him, he's always ready to go.
8th professional season, 3 years of big league time. Ross was an all-star in 18. And you know what? When he goes out to the mound, he doesn't think of himself as a swing guy. He doesn't think of himself as the guy who is like jack of all trades, master of none. He thinks of himself as the guy that can be in this rotation and make a huge impact. And if he's asked to do another role, he will be ready for it. Got a couple new toys that he's working on this spring training, away from the fastball, slider, curveball, and just trying to add something else off speed that he can actually pitch with. Not just have in his arsenal, but pitch with it and use it.
That is the changeup. He's been tinkering with the grip throughout the winter, and so far the The change-up, the new one, is drawing rave reviews from the guys that have caught it in the bullpen, and from the coaches that have watched it from behind. You would be one of those coaches.
I like what's going on with his delivery, with his action, and I like the way it's coming out of his hand as it represents a fastball and then is a changeup.
They said it seems to hide his spin better, and that's the whole idea with the changeup, is being able to have it look as much like your fastball as you can coming out of the hand. Adam Engel stands in, and off we go with him hacking away and popping it up into that bright sunshine. It is Muncy at second base today. 1 pitch, 1 out for Stripling. Started the year in the rotation last year, and then 2 months out of the bullpen. He had moved back into the rotation in late June and was pitching pretty well, but then he went on the injured list in August and missed most of that month with neck discomfort that had bothered him on and off since the spring, before he got ready again at the end of the season. That's a strike to Mendick.
See the little drop step from Ross, kind of a semi wind up where he goes set, but then the little drop step. Guys are really liking that type of delivery now. Kind of keeps their head over their back foot, which makes them feel the power in their back leg. When your head is removed from the back leg and being over it, all of a sudden you have to find it again as you come back into it. But his head stays still right there over the foot, and bam, online.
Sharp break to that one. 1-2.
Early pitching clinic here in the first inning. But as you come up, that head stays still and everything works below it, and that keeps him locked into having masterful control. Those eyes are not lying to him as he moves towards the hitter.
Normally got to pay good money for that kind of a pitching instruction from you.
Or wait till the 7th inning.
Oh man, rate goes up as the day goes on.
Well,
it's like Uber.
Yeah, usually the game's out of balance one way or the other here in spring.
Check swing, no swing, 2-2.
That could have been the changeup. Had a little glare on my monitor. Couldn't read the pitch perfectly.
You and me both, buddy. Don't look over here for help.
I thought it was my old eyes.
Nope, it's the monitor. Bright day. It's a good problem to have. 2-2.
Oh,
got him.
Wow. That shows you how much he was throwing and getting ready for camp before spring training started, to hit those pitches the way he has with that 12-6 curveball we saw earlier, and then lighting up the inside corner there. Perfectly placed.
2 up, 2 down for Stripling, and Nicky Delmonico stands in. Stripling, the 30-year-old out of Texas. Bounces at 1 ball, no strikes. It was an interesting offseason for Ross. He was certain that he was headed to the Angels with that deal having been announced with him and Jock Peterson. So sure that he even got calls and texts from his teammates and Dave Roberts wishing him luck. He started to look at places in Newport Beach, make his commute a little easier. Started to think about life in the rotation full time. He, of course, would have been a really, really good piece for the Angels to have. But with that deal falling through, the Dodgers more than happy to have him back. His 1-1 pitch is low. It's 2-1.
It's one thing to rumors on Twitter, selective announcements other places, but nothing official. But when the phone call comes from your manager,
right? It's happening at that point.
Because the player texts and the phone calls are still based on rumor, but that is amazing that it fell through then.
Jock Peterson even started shopping for red shoes. Line drive into center field and a 2-out base hit for Delmonico. As Edwin Encarnacion comes up, we check in with Alana.
One of the worst parts for both Ross Stripling and Jock Peterson in that time, guys, before they thought they were traded, was that week of limbo, not really knowing what was going on. Of course, as you mentioned, the texts and the calls from teammates, and then a call from Dave Roberts. Andrew Friedman didn't want the fact that it got out on social media to be the first person to tell them, but in the world that we live in, that's kind of how it happened. In fact, when they found out they were staying with the Dodgers, Ross Stripling shows up here at Camelback Ranch, and Adam Kolarek was in the clubhouse. He's like, "What are you doing here?" He goes, "Are you just working out?" He's like, "Man, I'm still part of this team." Yeah, even amazing. Adam didn't know.
Strike one on Encarnacion. And Andrew Friedman was in constant contact with those guys as they went through that week of limbo. Told him, "Look, I'll tell you everything I know. I'll be as upfront as I can." He's kind of in limbo himself. Be part of that week. A lot of moving parts to it.
Well, it was linked to the other trade, I guess. You say, please don't let it go through. I don't know if you can officially link them. Just that they were unsure that they wanted to complete it, and the unsureness turned into no.
On 1-1. Big breaking ball that has a good hitter in Encarnacion, swinging and missing. 1-2.
It's when you know your breaking ball is sharp is when you leave it up and they still miss it. And that pitch is really sharp. Most curve balls that hang, they flatten out. But Ross still, as well as he spins the ball, still has break.
Here's his 1-2. Goes back to it and gets him swinging. A little bit of trajectory to that one. And it broke under the swing of Encarnacion to finish off a scoreless first for Stripling. Betts to lead things off again. That'll be Max Muncy starting at second base, hitting second. Another MVP out of the 3 spot. Cody Bellinger is in center field today with Kike Hernandez cleaning up. Will Smith catches and bats fifth. Third baseman is Matt Beatty. Edwin Rios and DJ Peters, and Zach McKinstry makes a start out of the 9 spot as the shortstop. As Betts stands in, Alex McRae gets ready to toss his first pitch in a White Sox uniform over from Pittsburgh.
Free agent signing that their hope can crack the rotation, maybe not crack the rotation, but end up in the bullpen, an arm that just hoping having the organization that can start to blossom.
Misses with his first one to Betts, who made his Dodgers spring debut yesterday. 0 for 2, but drove in a run with a sacrifice fly that broke the tie, helped the Dodgers win. A lot has been made of his day one talk to the team. Ken Gurnick wrote an article for MLB.com today drawing some parallels to Mookie Betts coming over to the new team and having this talk on day one to Kirk Gibson in 1988. A little bit different tone to his talk.
Yeah.
But a similar message in his first spring training with the Dodgers. That's behind first, falling and caught by Rutherford.
Kirk's speech was more of a turnaround speech as far as mentality of a team and seriousness of the day and the work ethic. Mookie's was more of a finishing off of a team. So he came from a situation where they were making the playoffs but not winning a world championship, and he and a few others decided back there in Boston that they had to start right from day one with intensity and respecting the moment and the work ethic, and never having then have to change. The first out in spring training is just as important as the last out of the World Series. And it was a very interesting and great talk.
Here's Muncy. You may have been, and maybe a couple others, but maybe the only human who was in the room for both. Mitch Poole, perhaps?
Yeah, Mitch Poole, if he was in there this year. But yeah, you're right. That's interesting. 2 completely different speeches.
Yeah, inspired by completely different things.
Yeah.
Grounded to second. Madrigal throws Muncy out.
To remind the audience of 1988's Kirk Gibson speech came on the heels of him being embarrassed the day before with, as we watch Cody come up, the thinking about Jesse Orosco putting eye black onto his hat, so when he ran his sprints down the left field line to get ready for that game, when he came back to the line, all the fans started laughing at him because the black was across his 5 head right there. And that led to a team meeting. Either Gibby was going to leave the Dodgers or he was going to get an apology.
Bellinger climbs in with the bases empty and 2 gone here in this scoreless first inning, and takes ball 1. And it's not that he was so mad that Jesse Roscoe had done that he called a team meeting. This had built up a little bit. He had seen enough horsing around where there was a point that he wanted to make, and this is just what sparked him finally making that point.
Yeah, the work ethic was there in camp, but there was a lot of fun in between drills, and he really takes playing a game and getting ready for a game compared to the workouts at a sacred level. And he did not want to have that interrupted, and not only did he not want his personal time interrupted, he didn't want the team to even think that that was allowed anywhere else on the team. And he made the point very clear.
A pop-up off of the bat of Bellinger, and foul ground third base side, and a 1-2-3 inning for Alex McRae on 8 pitches. Both guys different eras, different tones, but same message. Floro ready for him to welcome him back to Camelback Ranch. Replaces Ross Stripling, who worked the scoreless first inning, and Ross on his way back to the clubhouse visited with Alana.
Nice first outing of the Cactus League season, Ross. I know a lot of it is not about results, but kind of the way that the ball's coming out of your hand. What did you hope to get from this one?
Yeah, the first ones are definitely about the process, just want to feel good, feel the mound, face guys that don't have Dodger jerseys on and that kind of stuff. So it was a good first one, happy with it. Now, start building up from there.
What was the conversation with both pitching coach Mark Pryor and Will Smith, your backstop today?
Well, we're working on changeups. I think most people know that by now, so it's no secret. Threw a couple of them. Got a swing and miss, got a check swing, and then got a take. So just the difference in those and what they look like. And then other than that, they thought some of them were sliders and they were changeups. They're happy that I threw one to a righty because we're kind of trying to make that a thing for me this year. But that's basically all that conversation was.
When I was talking to some of the position players about whether they want to face more lefties or righty based on their handedness, Max Muncy was very adamant, saying, yeah, I do care. Do you care as far as how many different batters you face from both sides of the plate?
Not necessarily. I've never really thought about it. I just kind of know that they're going to give me.
Yeah, getting killed by the police officer.
Yeah, no problem. I just know it's about facing both. I don't necessarily care about how many. Right now, like I said, a priority is throwing changeups to righties. So I want to at least face some righties, my IBPs, and I noticed the first 2 batters in this inning were right-handed, so I wanted to at least get one right-on-right changeup in there. Check swung. I thought it might have been a strikeout. Check swung. So at least got a reaction from him, which is a good sign. I'll go watch it on video and see what it looked like.
Ross, we always appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thanks, Alana.
All right, guys.
All right, Alana. Ross, he spent some time with a microphone, huh? You can tell.
Yeah, he's getting more and more comfortable. His podcast getting pretty. A lot of, I could say viewers now because that last one was on TV.
It was live podcast.
Is it officially a podcast then?
I mean, they recorded it and we'll air it back as Floro gets Collins for the first out. 58 episodes, something like that.
Is that what they're up to?
Yeah, really impressive. And he's down there to get a little more work in. One gone here in the second as Andrew Vaughn climbs in. Top 100 prospect. First baseman for the White Sox today. And Floro is working exclusively out of the stretch right now. Pours in strike 1.
I think he has gotten rid of the windup. I like the windup, but if he's more comfortable and feels he's effective from this, but it was just kind of a cool windup to look at.
Yeah. That tilt back to look up into the glove.
Yep, glove and sky and get a deep breath. The way he wound up, and that leg kick was a little bit more aggressive. Not speaking mechanics or pitching, just fandom.
Just the aesthetics of it.
Yeah.
Overthrows that one, and it's 1-2. He said he'd been doing that for a few years, where he'd tilt back and look through the glove, and just that final moment of centering himself. Through a live BP a couple days ago that was really impressive. He was very encouraged the way his slider was moving in it. Taken into a game for the first time. Delivering one here that's hit off the end of the bat, down the line, and foul.
Trying to return to the consistency in the form of 2018 when he was traded over here in July. Dominant with the 2-seamer. Last year, nagging injuries. Getting the ball up, not getting the same depth in his pitches. But feeling good so far this spring in his side works, in his live BP, and here again in this outing right now, the ball coming out of his hand really well.
Home with another 1-2 to Vaughn. Yeah, that first season that he was with the Dodgers, you mentioned he came over mid-season. He had a 1.63 earned run average. It was third in the National League in 2018. But he went from the 1.63 in 18 to a 4.24 last year.
I think when he first went on the IL, wasn't it some neck inflammation was reported? And that tells me that he was probably pitching hurt, but didn't really want to say, you know, I don't need to go on the IL. Let me power through this. Well, the powering through it did not work. Sometimes you're doing that for yourself, and sometimes you're doing it for the team, meaning I'm sore enough that I probably should go on the IL, but there weren't maybe enough bodies or arms at the time that were feeling good, so you got through it. And other times, you know, you don't really communicate it quite as deeply of what you're struggling with because there's so much competition. You don't want to give up your spot.
Yeah, and especially for him where he's still relatively new to being a full-time guy in the major leagues. It probably doesn't feel like it's a sure thing. And I would imagine you wonder if, hey, if I say I can't go anymore, am I ever going to have another chance?
Yeah, am I going to get back in? That's great riches and talent in the Dodger organization, but does create a lot of competition.
Next pitch will be the 9th to Andrew Vaughn.
And you've got to be able to perform and play under that competition. You know, you can go to another organization where there isn't much depth, and no matter how you go, you've still got a job, at least for till the end of the year. But with the Dodgers, it is a performance-based next at bat, next game, next inning.
On the 9th pitch, induces a bounce to short, and Zach McKinstry. So 2 gone in the second. Flora looking for a 1-2-3 inning as Nick Madrigal comes up. Very intriguing prospect right here. This guy was the number 4 pick in the draft 2 years ago out of Oregon State. And while the entire league and all of baseball seems is going in one direction, chasing slug, home run numbers very high. Strikeouts come with that, and it's okay sometimes. He's the other way. Exceptionally high on base percentage. And how about this? In his 2 seasons in minor league baseball, 51 walks, 21 strikeouts in 2 full years on the minors. Second inning and delivered. Kike had a nice spring debut Saturday in Scottsdale. Hitting a long home run.
Got robbed by the official scorer, too, on a line drive up the middle. They deflected off the glove. They called an error. Would have been a hit at home. On the road, it was an error.
And he said afterwards, had it been the regular season, I would have had a word or two for the score. He'll save those arguments for the real thing. Reaches out and gets a piece of that one, rolling it to Mendick at short for the first out. And so 4 up, 4 down for Alex McRae. Trying to make the White Sox, guy that you mentioned has had some time in the majors with the Pirates, but has given up 33 runs in 30 career innings. So a change of scenery, probably something that he welcomed.
Got a 2-seamer, 92 to 93 with some sink. That's what he mainly throws at his fastball, but he also has a 4-seamer, and then his number 1 breaking pitch is his slider. That's what he just got Kike to reach at and roll over. Decent numbers in AAA, but it really is the peripherals that people must like. The spin rate and the ability to sink the ball, because the statistics are not glowing from AAA to the big leagues.
Will Smith, base is empty, 1 gone. 0-1 pitch. A little bit outside, 1-1. More and more often you're seeing right-handed hitters with the overshift on.
With the Dodgers, the shiftiest team in baseball last year.
Defensively.
And especially because of the right-handed shift when they were on defense.
On a 2-1, Smith takes ball 3.
It's one thing to be the lonely third baseman on the left side when a left-hander's up. It's another thing to be the lonely first baseman, because you have that extra responsibility that where we think he's going to hit the ball, I have to run over to first and get ready to receive a throw. Third baseman, when it's not hit to him, doesn't have any responsibilities when it's a left-handed pull shift.
And there's a long way to go for Andrew Vaughn right now.
Yeah. I mean, if it's a bullet, you have to tell your other 3 infielders, you've got to get me time to get there, get my eyes under control, turn around, and pick up your throw.
Go ahead and take like a 3-step drop, timing route.
If it's a chopper, you might be tracking a ball like an NFL wide receiver that you turn on the end of the route and the ball is arriving.
2 out. Yeah, and here's Beatty. Back-to-back rookie impact players from 2019. It's Smith and Matt Beatty, who wound up 1-2 on the Dodgers, hitting with runners in scoring position. Up into the spotlight, up into the pressure pack, run to a pennant, even though there's quite a gap in that regard. But the pressure, relative pressure that comes in being a big leaguer for the first time. And Beatty and Smith, 1-2 with runners in scoring position.
Slightly smaller sample size than the general roster, but you're right, enough of a sample size that you can't discount it.
And enough of a sample size where it became part of who we viewed them as. Like Matt Beatty seemed like needed to be part of the big games, needed to be part of the postseason roster, because that's who he became. He became the guy you could trust in those situations. Not only did he lead the team with runners in scoring position, but he was 3rd in baseball, 379.
Chase Utley, Andre Ethier, who are in as guest instructors. Those are the kind of guys that you could depend on in those key situations to put an at-bat on you. Matt Beatty has a lot in common with those guys already.
That is 26. Debut came late April last year. After a few minor league seasons, after some injuries, missed an entire year with a torn thumb ligament. Good take here, ball 3.
You know, so many people will think that it's the Dodger budget that continues to bring talent here, but they uncover diamonds in the rough better than any organization. Matt Beatty's, Justin Turner, Max Muncy.
Uncover them, but then develop them.
And right. I mean, it's not just let's go out and get the high-priced guy.
3-1. Big bouncer behind the bag, the shortstop Mendick to retire the side. Threw it 2 and has scored up. Share this wonderful facility. Camelback Ranch facing off today. Will play during the regular season as well. Dodgers making a trip to Chicago later in the year as they face the American League Central in interleague play this year. Adam Kolarek enters the game for the Dodgers. He's been a big topic of conversation this year, moving into a season with the rule implementation of the 3-batter minimum. And Kolarek was a lefty specialist for the Dodgers after they got him from Tampa last year.
26 appearances for the Dodgers, 16 of them were to 1 batter. So a big adjustment, not only facing righties this year, but having to go 3 batters if he doesn't finish the inning before that 3-batter minimum. So they can bring him out with 2 outs and a man on, or just 2 outs, and if he gets that hitter out, he only has to go the 1 batter as long as he doesn't come back out the next inning.
Here's his 1-0 to Chester Cuthbert at the knees, 1-1. Now, he says, though, he never considered himself a lefty specialist until he went to the Dodgers. He faced a bunch of right-handed hitters in Tampa Bay. In fact, 80% of his appearances in Tampa Bay were to multiple hitters. He hits Cuthbert here, a leadoff man on for Chicago.
Well, that pitch right there is just low and away to a lefty, but that's a back foot slider to a righty, and it literally was a back foot slider. Righties last year hit 364 off him, lefties 156. So it is a place that is of emphasis, and it was headed for the back foot but hit the front.
In his career, Adam Kolarek has made left-handed hitters the equivalent of a batting Kenta Maeda. Right-handed hitters, though, have been the equivalent in terms of OPS of Francisco Lindor. 9-hitter Blake Rutherford taking ball 1, and so he enters his spring training, obviously understanding as well as anybody what that rule means for him and his potential role, and so he is attacking that and trying to find other ways to get right-handed hitters out. "31 years old in his 4th year with Major League time coming up. Drafted back in 2010, Adam Kolarek was. You know, the New York Mets topped out with a couple of games in AAA there. They released him. Bounce to first. Rios, high throw to second. Nice job by McKinstry to get the out.
McKinstry out there has a very good heart rate. Boy, he looks very good around shortstop. Even the routine ground ball earlier, I just really liked the way he went about his business. This throw from Rios is the aggressive right play. A little high, but he does not panic at all. Understands where he is in time and space and finds some footing on that bag to record the out.
There's a lot of talk about Zach McKinstry from Dave Roberts during his pregame session with the media today. Top of the order, Adam Engel, 1 on 1 out. He turns on it and rips it foul. Dave Roberts said he first noticed Zach McKinstry coming over from the minor league side last year, and said the more you watch him, he's the kind of guy that the more you watch him, the more you appreciate him.
The routine ground ball in the inning prior, I was just watching him and just like, wow. And I wasn't anticipating watching him. It's just in the midst of the play. It said that, well, that had a lot of rhythm to it, and it just looked so smooth. And then he repeated it there on that forced play at second.
He's mostly been a second baseman, but he's also spent a bunch of time at third, a bunch of time at short, and has even played some outfield. As we know, in this organization, the more that you can do, better shot you've got to make it.
We better be ready for ground balls when this gentleman's on the mound, when Kolarek's there. That is his specialty.
3rd highest ground ball rate in baseball last year. Zach Britton was 1. Guy that was number 2 is a White Sox, Aaron Bummer. 2-2.
I love it. I'm kind of pro eye test, and you're pro. I've got the. You're like the witness. Here it is. Yep, you're right. 3rd highest ground ball percentage in the big leagues last year.
I just read the cards
awesome.
that you hand me.
No. It's great. I hate it when I say something then you go, well, Earl, no, he pops up a lot.
In fact, Adam Kolarek can do some more infield pop-ups than any pitcher in baseball. Yet to induce a grounder. Try again.
Try again, partner. Have those eyes checked.
Yeah. Count goes full. Started to talk a little bit about Adam's career path, but a guy that was released by the team that drafted him after 5 years in the minors, picked up by Tampa Bay, 1 year in AA and AAA, granted free agency, 1 year with the Braves in the minors, released, picked up again by Tampa Bay, finally made his big league debut as a 28-year-old. Gets a swing and a miss here, tossed down in time, and a strike him out, throw him out to end the inning. Will Smith down to Zach McKinstry, and a scoreless 3rd for Adam Kolarek.
Arizona at WorldBaseballClassic.com.
So you can make a nice little trip out of it. You come watch some spring training here in Phoenix, and then that's less than a couple hours down to Tucson. Watch some WBC qualifiers. Roberto Mejia comes in here.
Yeah, you could do the day game and have a spring training game. Scoot down there, do the night game.
Mejia's 26. parts of 4 seasons in the majors with 3 different teams, the Twins, the Cardinals, and most recently the Angels. Big ol' left-hander, 6'4", 200 pounds. Dodgers looking for their first base runner of the afternoon as Rios, Peters, and McKinstry come to bat. Edwin Rios. Spends his off seasons in Florida and road tripped to spring training from Florida with his wife. He said they made it, but never again. It was a long trip. Still married after the trip, though. 0-2.
I like long car rides.
I do too, but there's a line there where it becomes a little too long.
Yeah. 6 hours.
Right.
Good. Yeah, you get past 8. Now you're getting a little worn out.
Depends on the radio station. Depends on the company too.
Right.
What radio station do you have going on a long road trip?
See, I would go with my own playlist at the most boring times because I want a good song after a good song after a good song, and then I could do whatever local radio. If that's where if we had satellite radio, I don't usually pay for the satellite radio.
Just drive in and out of signals as you go across.
Yeah, I like that old school.
2 balls, 2 strikes.
Searching for the good station. I haven't taken a long trip because my wife, Dana, she gets a little car sick. She doesn't like to go much over an hour, hour and a half. Maybe we should take one together.
I'd love that.
Leave Libby and the kids staying at home.
Just you and me. Open road. You and me, the open road at some scratchy radio stations, apparently. On 2-2. Rios. Watches ball 3. Been a really tight zone from Ryan Blakeney today.
One way to bring offense into the game.
Yeah.
Tight strike zone.
Rios leading off the 3rd and cracking his bat on a roller to first that Andrew Vaughn will scoop up and feed Mejia. 1 gone.
Little PFP for the White Sox there. Pitchers fielding practice. They do a lot of that in spring training, covering first. Mainly not for the physical part of covering first, but the reaction of a ball hit to your left. Make sure you break, because that's where you can actually lose that play, in the hesitation of leaving the mound.
1 out for DJ Peters. PFPs are kind of like the poster drill of spring training, right? Like, still going.
Yeah, you get about 5 seconds of the drill, and then you wait in line for about 2.5 to 3 minutes.
Ball and a strike on DJ Peters, and for more on him, here's Alana.
Guys, people were joking that perhaps he lost some of his power because he shaved off all of that beard and the hair like Samson, losing the power. And I actually talked to him about the fact that he looks a lot bigger coming into this spring training. And he said that, you know, he's been able to work out with all of these guys at the major league level in California. And he also said that he has, you know, the same weight training that he's been doing, but really working with Brandon McDaniel, the strength and conditioning coach. He's also incorporated about 2 to 3 days of yoga into his routine to help improve that flexibility and that range of motion. Obviously a very powerful guy, but it does look like he's put on some muscle, if you will.
Great compliment to heavy weightlifting, yoga.
Can't vouch for either one of those.
He's down on strikes here, 2 gone in the 3rd. Heavy weightlifting was not a big part of the training towards the end?
I started to really see it in the Dodger locker room when Mike Piazza and Eric Karros joined the team. So it was like a half a generation away from me. Just weightlifting alone for pitchers was just starting to come into vogue when I broke into the big leagues. I remember Pat Screener, who's going to be in camp, the old Dodger physical therapist, going to be in camp here in a few days for Day, just visiting. Pat was one of the first ones that really taught the pitchers how to lift weights. And it was the Dr. Frank Jobe exercises that he was first initially teaching, when the elbow bar and then the shoulder exercises that Dr. Jobe designed with him out of their biomechanic clinic, and figuring out what weights and what angles fire the correct muscles to exercise the rotator cuff muscles.
So 1-0 to Zach McKinstry. It's fouled and it's 1-1.
So much of baseball pre-1980 was if you lift weights, you're going to get stiff and bulk up, and you won't be able to swing the bat. You won't be able to make your arm move fast and be a good pitcher. You'll lose your arm strength. But of course, we've finally figured out for sure that that is wrong.
Although it seems like there still is, if there's a bias one way or the other, it would be that hitters are more likely to bulk up than pitchers still.
Yeah, I think strength, but yeah, in certain forms, it would be a nice half inning for us to get Brandon McDaniel up here and talk about that. I think people would learn a lot from him and how to train their younger athletes, the college athletes, and then even the young pros, of what the theories are now.
Bulking season.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ouch.
It sounded like it hit padding almost.
Yeah.
As loud, as high pitched as that sound was.
Something other than meat.
That's either a bone sound or padding sound.
It's hard to tell. Is it his elbow?
Yeah, opposite elbow that didn't have the pad on.
Yeah.
Right on the pad.
So the Dodgers get their first base runner with 2 gone here in the 3rd, and Mookie Betts comes up and hits it off the end of the bat. Sliding stop is short by Mendick, but he can't pull the trigger. Yeah, Betts aboard. 1st and 2nd with 2 out.
Get the ball. His first Dodger hit.
And it is officially ruled one.
Probably say, oh, they did take the ball out of play.
It's funny. Do you have any memorabilia from your spring trainings?
Not my first spring training hit or first spring training strikeout, no. All the other ones from the regular season, but no. Always fun, though, to kid a veteran.
2 on, 2 out. Muncy to the plate. Wonder if they got his home run ball on Saturday. It was his first spring training home run ever.
Really?
Yep.
That is so hard to believe.
He's saved him for the regular season. 35 in each of his first 2 years as a Dodger. You know how many times somebody has had 3 straight 35 home run seasons in the Dodger uniform? Once.
Once.
Duke Snider in the 1950s.
That would have been my guess. It was about to come out of my mouth, and you cut me off.
I'm sorry.
It's all right.
I didn't want to leave you hanging. Rolled back to the mound, and Mejia will toss it to first to retire the side. First couple of base runners for the Dodgers, but nothing to show for it. A no score after 3. Beautiful, beautiful day out here. 70 degrees. Light blue skies above. As the Dodgers go back into the bullpen, and Adubray Ramos, who has parts of 4 seasons in the majors with the Philadelphia Phillies, putting on a Dodger uniform for the first time. And the numbers last year not good, but trying to recapture his 2018 form, similar to a few other Dodger acquisitions. You have Blake Trinan, his 2018, where he was the best reliever in baseball. In the case of Ramos in 2018, he had a 232 in 52 games for Philadelphia. Here's an 0-1 to Danny Mendick. Chopped along third, foul. Almost 27 years old, out of Venezuela. Originally signed with the Cardinals and picked up by the Phillies. Debuted in 2016.
Working away so far with things that are walking away from the right-handed hitter, breaking balls and little cutter.
Stays that way, 2-2.
When you see outstanding break like that, but it's not on the plate where the hitter doesn't offer, making the adjustment of getting on the plate is more about how you leave the rubber and your weight and your direction than it is release point and grip. That is a great pitch, and you want your arm to work just like that. But to get it over on the plate, you've got to create some better direction from the rubber. Makes a nice adjustment right there. That was sharp break and on the plate.
A little bit like bowling. You pick a different arrow to aim the ball at.
Yeah, if you like what the ball's doing, but it's not in the area you want it, don't start trying to manipulate out front at the very end to bring it over to where you want it. That is the outstanding way your arm is working, your hand is working, it's spinning the ball correctly. Just start your body, your direction better. Again, another good adjustment.
Off the end of the bat to right, and Mookie Betts. I guess fitting that a bowling conversation has at bat end with Mookie making the catch.
He has a couple 300 games under his belt, doesn't he?
Yeah, including one on the professional tour.
Wow. You think about the pressure that builds strike after strike after strike in a 300 game. Like, I've done this 11 in a row. Only a few more. No, it would only be one more. After 11 in a row, it's 12 in a row, it's 300. Wow.
Ball on Nicky Delmonico. This is mom that got him into bowling. She's still very into it. Still bowls competitively. Ripped into right center field. Back goes Bellinger. He'll watch it hit off the base of the wall. Delmonico with a one-out double.
Sweet swing right here. Hit it right back from where it came. Low and away fastball that he stayed on. Got underneath enough to backspin it over Cody's head. Played well in center field, but guaranteed double.
One-on-one out, Encarnacion in a scoreless game here in the fourth. Now, Mookie's mom, Deanna, says that it was at a bowling alley that she first thought, huh, this one's different. Mookie's a little bit different. Just watching the way that he could make adjustments, like we're talking about, picking a different alignment. Check swing, but he offered, and it's 0-2. He was about 4 years old, she said, when she first started to see some of those raw abilities. His ability to take coaching and apply it right away. Encarnacion swinging as it comes out of the hand, and down on strikes, 2 away.
Glad he chose baseball.
He had his options.
Yeah.
He could have played basketball. He can execute a 360 dunk, and he's 5'9". So district MVP as a point guard in high school. Wanted to play football. His mom wouldn't let him do that. Instead, he was a water boy for his high school team all 4 years. Never missed a practice. A pop-up on the left side off of the bat is Zach Collins, and Beatty at third puts a squeeze on it, brings an end to the fourth with the game still scoreless.
Commemorating that moment, presented by Bank of America. For tickets, visit Dodgers.com/promotions.
One of the more memorable moments of the 2019 season. Been June 9th in San Francisco. Hey, did you hear that Madison Bumgarner has been doing rodeo competitively under a fake name?
I heard that. I was watching some of it and reading about it.
You watched some of his rodeo?
Well, they have some little video there.
All right. How do you do? How do you look?
He won some trophies.
Bellinger leads off this fourth. Yeah, it takes ball one from Mejia.
I wonder if he has like a hidden door in his house where he puts all the trophies that he didn't want anybody else he knows he won.
Depends on the company. He rotates them in and out. He's got a shelf for his baseball fans, and then it turns into his rodeo shelf when that crew comes in. They completely made that part up.
Yeah.
101. Here's the spot where Cody Bellinger was so much better in 2019. That is against left-handed pitching. 2018, he hit .226. His OPS against lefties was .681. The next year, the OPS was .982. He raised it by 300 points and was the #1 left-handed hitter against left-handed pitching in the National League. Behind here, 1 and 2.
That's really unheard of progress.
300 points.
Improve enough to be in there in the starting lineup against the lefty compared to being platooned. Yeah, that's progress, but to jump that far in 1 year, it's ridiculous. From you can't play against lefties to you're the best in the National League.
Yeah, I mean, he was not in the lineup games 1 or 2 of the World Series in 18 against Chris Sale, David Price. And then a change against left-handed pitching. Big part of what turned around his 2019, made him an MVP. On a 2-2 from a lefty in Mejia. He yanks it into the gap in right center field for a base hit. Over to cut it off is Ingold. Bellinger's headed to second with a double.
On cue, Cody Bellinger. Take a look at it again on the Carl's cam. Staying in there against the lefty. Had a down and in sinker prior to this that he swung over the top of. That one more in the middle of the plate and makes another sweet swing, but this one gets barreled up in the gap, and it is routine double for a guy with his speed cruising into second.
Huge improvements from 2018 against lefties, but really 2018 was the outlier for him. That was the only time in his life that he'd struggled against left-handed pitching. I mean, even you look as a rookie, he was one of the top left-handed hitters against left-handed pitching in baseball. It's ball one on Kike Hernandez. In fact, the OPS as a rookie was above 900 against lefties. So from above 900 to 681 to 982. .102 to Hernandez.
Spring training at bat compared to a midseason, compared to a playoff at bat. This is where Mookie Betts is talking about, you know what, I'm not sure we're working on things right here. This is the intensity we're looking for. Let's do what we need to do here just as much as we will in October.
Point being, find a way to get Bellinger to third.
I would think so, unless the theory early in the game for Dave Roberts and the hitting contingent is hit for yourself here, because sabermetrically it says don't give yourself up. Go ahead and try and get a hit the ball to the ballpark, hit a double. But I would think in one-run situations late, this would be definitely get him over. But not here.
Not here. 1 out.
And I understand the theory. I understand that, you know, still want to cause damage, not just give yourself up. And secondary theory to that would be you're not giving yourself up and just trying to play pepper with the right side of the infield and move them over, but try and cause damage to the right side. So probably 3 different theories there.
So Bellinger at second with 1 out, and here's Will Smith. One of the 2 strikeout victims so far for LA. Will has drawn a lot of lofty comparisons to Buster Posey throughout his baseball career. Athletic catchers think the game very seriously, go about their business similarly. And more, Will Smith can say that he's similar to Buster Posey and that he's an offensive threat as a catcher. Into right center field. Rutherford makes the catch. 2 out.
A successful left-handed hitter standing on second base. 2 righties make out, so we leave it up to another lefty.
Talked about it his first time up, but he was one of the best hitters in baseball in these situations last year. Runners in scoring position. Takes a nice breaking pitch, and it's 0-1.
You said 370, I think.
379.
Wow.
Yeah.
It cannot be glossed over at all.
Hit the first of the 3 consecutive rookie walk-offs against the Rockies in June. Chase there, falls behind 0-2. Teammates started to call him the Hitman last year. Got a high velocity machine that a lot of guys will warm up on now. And for most, it takes a round or 2 on the high velocity machine to time it up. Matt Beatty was standing there and just whack, whack right from the first pitch.
Very consistent. Watch him in the cage in the last few days, and it's just, you're right, it's just crack after crack after crack. You don't see a lot of adjustments. I know he's making them, but they're probably minuscule. It just looks like the same swing all the time.
Bellinger off second, started this inning with a double. Beatty able to spoil that one and stay alive at 1-2. Talking about the improvements from some of these guys year to year. Collectively, this is one of the spots where the Dodgers as a team were so much better. Runners in scoring position and 2 out. They went from the worst team in baseball in 2018 to the best in the National League last year. They hit 199 in these situations in 18. 265 as a team last year. Another 1-2. Another foul.
He's given Mejia a battle right here. He's looked awkward, but foul tipped the breaking ball and spoiled that high fastball there. Both would have been balls, but he's still up there spoiling them. Hoping for a mistake, even though there's 2 strikes.
On another 1-2. He takes this one way high. Ball 2. Of course, as good as the improvement was regular season to regular season, it deserted the Dodgers in the division series. Went 5 for 37 with runners in scoring position against the Nats. Still had the power. They hit 9 home runs in those 5 games. But were unable to come through, and they had situations like this too many times. Mejia wins this battle, and the Dodgers unable to take advantage of Bellinger's leadoff double. End of the game for the Dodgers, Kyle Lobstein. 30 years old out of Flagstaff, Arizona. Spent most of last season in AAA in the Oakland system. His second turn in the Dodge organization. Spent part of 2018 in the minors with LA. From the Rays to the Tigers to the Pirates. Quick stint with the Orioles organization, the Marlins, Dodgers, A's, back to the Dodgers. Grounded foul by Andrew Vaughn, and it's 0-1. Lobstein parts of 3 seasons in the majors. Last time in 2016 with Pittsburgh. A couple years with the Tigers too. Quickly ahead, 0-2. Former Montgomery Biscuit great, Kyle Lobstein.
We'll never forget that.
Never. Ouch. And an 0-2 pitch hits Vaughn, and the leadoff man on for the White Sox.
I wonder if there's a Montgomery Biscuit Hall of Fame.
I don't think so.
If there is,
maybe.
Someday you may be in it. Someday.
Keep working.
Keep going.
That's all the motivation I need. They had a wonderful ballpark there.
Yeah.
Yeah, Riverwalk Stadium. Right on the river.
You spent one year there?
3.
3 years there.
Here's Nick Madrigal.
I think you have to spend 3 years there to be eligible for the Hall of Fame.
If it was just 1 year, we wouldn't be talking about a potential trip to the Hall, the Biscuit Hall.
Yeah. I guess some people would call that the icing on the cake, but for the biscuits, you'd say that's the gravy.
Right, or the butter. Chicken, fried chicken and biscuit, you know. A lot of options. These ones had eyes, though. Eyes and a tongue made out of a slab of butter.
Was it one of the most purchased, like, minor league hats? Was it that cool?
Oh, yeah.
Of a...
Albuquerque Isotopes up there.
Yeah.
And Montgomery Biscuits.
I thought I saw it a lot around. I'm like, what is that team?
Lobstein home with a 1-1. And Madrigal spoils it, foul 1 and 2. You know, most places have T-shirt guns. In Montgomery, they have a biscuit gun.
They shoot biscuits, to,
biscuits
the crowd?
into the crowd. Oh, you bet they do.
Are they disintegrated by the time you get them? They're all wrapped
They're
up
wrapped
tight,
in
probably.
heavy-duty foil.
Yeah. How'd you get the black eye? I got hit by a biscuit.
Tough part is when they then bring the gravy rocket out.
Oh, that's great. How was the travel in the Montgomery Biscuit days? Was it bus?
Oh, yeah. Southern League. Kyle was going
all bus.
Montgomery to Jacksonville to Zebulon, North Carolina.
Crowds, 5,000-6,000.
Depended on the park, yeah. They were always good in Montgomery. Nick Madrigal here in the White Sox system would have played in AA Birmingham, which is where Michael Jordan played.
Right.
Built a new ballpark downtown Birmingham within the last few years. It's supposed to be really nice.
Would Montgomery be on your bucket list if you were a huge minor league baseball fan?
Yeah, I think so.
That nice a ballpark?
For sure. Down the line foul.
A little warm in the summer, though.
Oh,
huh?
baby.
A little close, as they say in the South.
Close. I had a 98 Jeep Cherokee with the AC broken, and I would try to time out the stoplights so I wouldn't have to come to a full stop, so I could keep gliding.
Get some air in there.
A little bit of air, because if you stop, you're finished.
Oh, boy. And you just peel your clothes off the seats when you get out?
Oh, yeah. Lobstein home with another 1-2 and another foul ball. You can tell this is the guy here, Nick Madrigal, who's got 20 strikeouts in 2 pro seasons.
So 54 walks, you said, in his last at bat, I think.
Double check
over
that
two?
for you, but that sounds right.
And you said like 21 strikeouts?
Computer's not that fast.
Well, I try to listen to what you say and remember.
51 to 21. Yep, 51
51,
walks, 21 strikeouts, and 163 pro games. Rolled to the hold it short. McKinstry slides over to get it. Feeds Muncy for one, but Madrigal, who runs well, beats it out at first.
First little hitch in the giddy up for Zach there at shortstop. You could see that the little delay in getting the ball out of his glove is the reason they didn't turn the double play. He's been very smooth to this point. Had a little pressure on him on a forced play at second base where he made a nice play on a high throw, but this one just a little trouble getting it started. And that was the difference between out and safe.
One on, one out, and Cheslor Cuthbert takes a breaking ball for a strike.
I want to find out if in the defensive metrics that is a slight negative for a shortstop, where some shortstop records 2 outs on that play, including the help from the second baseman and the first baseman, compared to other shortstops when you hesitate like that only records 1 out. And because that would be a differentiator for me, because that's not an error, it's a recorded out, and it just kind of goes by the wayside that at the big league level the shortstop knows I was the reason they ended up scoring because we didn't get that double play because of my hesitation.
Well, I can't speak to the specific equations that go into these numbers, but I can tell you that a lot of, and maybe not a lot, but there are defensive categories that are prominent ones that have to do with people watching and crediting or taking credit away based on things like that.
Yeah, because it wasn't a rangy play, so it was almost after receiving the ball the way he did, it was routine after that, and then the hesitation came, and here's another one.
Now the chance, Candy Hop shovels it off. Muncy to first. Rios digs it, but safe at first is Cuthbert. That was a beautiful baseball play.
It sure was. And there is no negative mark on that one because they did it as quick as possible. It just got beat out. But no hesitation, good feed. Muncy, good turn, good scoop at first from Rios. You're not going to really grade arm strength here with the flip and then the throw by Max, just turning it. Very, very close. With replay, you might have had a little 20-second hesitation to see if we wanted to take another look at that one. We're going to take another look. They can't take a look down there and record an out, but let's take a look here. Safe by about 6 inches. But there definitely would have been the 20-second delay over Dave Roberts to see where are we on that one.
Blake Rutherford hitting 9th today. He's got a man at first with 2 out, and he slaps a ground ball to short, and a busy inning for Zach McKinstry. Feeds Muncy to end it. We're halfway home. Still no score. Show. Decent crowd for a Monday afternoon. It was sold out yesterday. A little more room out there to roll around down the berms today. A little Metallica is a walk-up song for Edwin Rios. Bottom third of the Dodger order to face Evan Marshall, who spent 5 seasons in the majors. Last season with the White Sox, breakout year for him. He had a .249 earned run average. And he gets strike 1 on Rios. Dodgers somewhat familiar with him. Started his career in Arizona. 3 years there, 14 through 16. Then to Seattle for a year. Then to Cleveland. And now his 2nd year in Chicago. Ahead of Rios, 0-2. Hits this one in the air, right center field, way back and off the wall. Rios with a long single as Rutherford hurries it back in. Then the throw gets over first with the catcher Collins there to back it up. There's as much happening on that single as about any single that you're ever going to see.
Ball was smoked, and they were playing him deep because the ball off the wall in the gap and no chance to really get to second. As hard as he hit it, but as deep as they were playing, you can see they're only a few strides from the warning track. That ball just caroms off right there. There is no chance to get to second. Good backup by the dugout fence. It caromed perfectly to the catcher.
Now Peters sends a high fly ball to center field for Engel. One on, one out. Here's McKinstry. One month from Wednesday, opening day at Dodger Stadium. Dodgers and the Giants, which is what it feels like it always should be for opening day on a Thursday afternoon. Not going out on a limb saying it's probably going to be a sunny day.
Another year of a fresh look, Dodger Stadium. All the work being done between the foul poles and the elevators being installed. You'll be able to walk all the way around the whole ballpark, no matter where your ticket is for.
All while maintaining the iconic look currently in place. It was really important to Stan Kasten when they started to talk about doing that outfield project. He wanted it untouched, that view looking out towards the San Gabriel Mountains. Wicked rip, 2-1.
I don't think of shortstops and think power, but think Corey Seager and others. And then this guy had 19 home runs last year in the minor leagues.
I think more and more you think shortstops and you think power. Position has evolved to, I guess just about every position has evolved to think power a little bit now.
I think with the defensive metrics and the shifting, you can have bigger, stronger guys that maybe the foot speed is not always as at the top of your priority list when you find a middle infielder.
Covers up some deficiencies.
Right. So if we know approximately where they're going to hit the ball, we don't need as many people that have range when we're guessing.
That's why when you ask with a certain hypothetical player, can he play second? Well, in this day and age, yeah, most guys can, because often you're going to have a buddy over there helping you.
Well, two things, that, and then also the contact rule at second base on the turn. So you're going to end up farther away a lot of times to try and turn the double play, but when you get there, they can't, run you over. So you take away that risk. So the footwork is not quite as, a priority. And it does bring a little bit more offense into the game in your selection of the player that's playing there. Your broadcast career is going to be so long that you're going to be explaining to your audience 10 years from now, 15 years from now about these rules they've never heard of. The Chase Utley rule. You're going to have to spend an inning on it.
McKinstry lifts a fly ball to deep center. Engel to the warning track with room in front of that 410 sign. And a long out number 2.
The rules around the home plate with catchers and contact.
Yeah, the Buster Posey rule.
You can't just say that in about 5 years.
Here's Mookie with the man at first and 2 gone. No score, 5th inning. There's a David Price rule.
Now, what is that?
That's in the High School Association in Tennessee. they revamped the schedule to have 3-game weekend series as opposed to playing a team scattered throughout the season. So one dominant pitcher, like David Price did throughout his high school career, can't dominate you multiple times in a season.
But you can also alter your rotation against the number 2 team that's chasing you. But I understand what you're saying. That is, you can't. Oh, they play it 3 games in a row.
As opposed to
spread out.
Spring.
You're right. So I had it the opposite way. Yeah. That's like playoff baseball. But not at the big league level, though, because you do play series. College, you play weekends.
Yeah. Yeah, much more in line with that. We've got the Friday night starter typically in college baseball as your ace.
It saves money at the college level, the travel expenses.
Go! 0-2 on Mookie Betts, who I guess would have played by the David Price rule schedule. Is later than him as a high schooler in Tennessee. Reaches out, gets his bat on that one, ripping it through the middle for a base hit to center. His second hit of the day sends Rios to third, and the Dodgers have them cornered with 2 out.
Fooled, but the eye-hand coordination to still hit a line drive. Starts the swing, ends up being a breaking ball, a little out in front. You see how he just stays with it. Top hand kind of leaves the bat just a little bit at the end to get a little extension. But the eye-hand coordination and the accuracy of that bat creates the line drive.
Sets up a 2-out chance for Max Muncy. He takes ball 1. Big rip. 1 ball, 1 strike. One of the best hitters in the National League since putting on a Dodger uniform. Weighted runs created plus on Fangraphs, basically just an encapsulation of a player's offensive value. He's 3rd in the National League the last 2 years. Yelich, Rendon, and Muncy. Rios at 3rd, Betts at 1st. A 1-1 pitch to Max Muncy. Little jam shot, shallow left. Mendick running over and making a diving play to keep the game scoreless. He was positioned up the middle, so had a long way to go and was able to get there to rob Muncy of a base hit and an RBI. And after 5 innings, thanks to Danny Mendick, still no score.
So I want
at bats in the 6th. Edwin Uceda comes on to pitch for the Dodgers. And moments ago, Alana Rizzo visited with Zach McKinstry.
All right, guys, thanks very much, Zach. You play a very smooth shortstop position. How much pride do you take in that defense?
Oh, I love defense. That's one of my favorite things. I mean, hitting is a big thing, but definitely have to take responsibility and do your thing over there and get your reps in and all that good stuff.
Another thing is, too, to take advantage of the opportunities given to you at this level. What do you hope that they see as far as your all-around complete game?
Just playing hard and, you know, playing hard-nosed and getting the good at-bats and all that good stuff.
How would you describe yourself as a hitter? Anything you're working on in particular?
You know, just driving the ball in the gap, getting guys over, doing my job when guys are in scoring position and on base. pace, get him around to score.
When you got hit, it was loud. How's that elbow feeling?
Oh, it feels all right. It hit straight on the Evo shield, so it's okay.
All right. Glad to see that you're okay. Thanks for your time, Zach. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, guys.
Zach McKinstry, one of the guys turning some heads early on in Dodger spring training. And another one, at least turning one head up here, is Edwin Uceta as you watch him throw his first few pitches.
I've enjoyed watching his bullpens. He can really spin a baseball, and he's going to have some good big league stuff. Change speeds, has a great hand as far as the hand discipline of taking the grip on the baseball and then understanding how to make it move with that grip, but then repeating it. Actually, his hand repeats better in his arm action than his body right now. He's just learning to keep a good line to home plate so that he can get a more consistent spray pattern.
22 years old, out of the Dominican Republic. Really good numbers last year, split between A-ball and AA. As a starter, went 11-2 with a 2.77. If not for Josiah Gray, Edwin Uceta would have had a good case for minor league pitcher of the year in the system.
I'm not going to put this bar on him of what he could be, but he's got a lot of Pedro Martinez in him. Just the flexibility, the size, the way he can really manipulate a baseball. And he's aggressive like Pedro was.
Home of the 1-2 to Adam Engel. Engel able to lay off, and the count evens up 2-2. Similar frame, a little taller. Listed 6'1", 155.
He's definitely a little stronger than Pedro was at this age. Pedro was slight of build and got stronger as he went through his big league career.
Soft contact, a little bloop to third, and Christian Santana puts it away.
I mean, those last two pitches will tell you how hard it's going to be hit off of him. You have to actually determine if a ball is going to be low and away in the dirt, which was the pitch prior, and then that one looked like it was going to be down the middle and ran all the way in on a right-handed hitter's hands. That's a lot to decipher.
And that's against a guy in Adam Engel who's played more than 300 major league games the last few years. That's not a jick, so to speak, coming up for the White Sox that he's making look funny. That's a legitimate big leaguer with some awkward swings and some poor contact. Here's Mendick with one out.
Starts him out with a little breaking ball dotting the outside corner, going right back out there with a two-seamer. So that one will look like it was going to end up in the left-handed batter's box and came back, just didn't creep far enough back to the corner. And the first one started down the middle, ended up out there.
The 1-1. Fouled back.
That was the four-seamer that's just like, it's on the corner and staying there. Outstanding sequence right here. See what he goes with to try and put him away.
Fastball blown right by him.
They were trying to come up and in. He missed his spot, but because of the great movement left and right and down and changing speeds, gives you a wider range to miss your spot and just beats him up and down the middle.
You mentioned the Pedro comparisons. You see a lot of pitchers that come up from the Dominican modeling their styles after Pedro, and he was his favorite pitcher. As a kid.
They can look just like him until the ball comes out of their hands usually.
And nobody looks like him.
This one's got a chance to look a little bit more like him even after the ball comes out of his hand.
What an incredible thing, though, for Edwin Uceta to have his guy that he's emulating be Pedro, and then pitching in a major league spring training game and an old major league pitcher making that comparison.
I had Pedro when he was a minor leaguer coming up through big league camp. I remember when he got sent down at Dodger camp, not because of ability, but because he was one of the last ones that had options. Oh my.
That is filthy.
That is some kind of split change or something. This is ridiculous. After a four-seamer down the middle that.
Now 1-2. Down the line, hooking. Foul.
He went back with the same pitch, but it was a little worse. So you teach the hitter that here's the dominant one, and if you go right back to the well, you've got to have them graded. This was the good one, now here's a better one. If it's this was the good one and here's a worse one, the hitter learns too much and they got a chance to get you, especially on off-speed pitches. You don't want to throw the really good curveball, then come back and go to throw another one and throw a hanger. That's when you get in trouble.
Try the 1-2 again. Back up with a fastball. Delmonico fouled it.
This is the best spray pattern I've seen him have. In his side works, he has not been this consistent with his location. And you've got to give guys a mulligan early as they go through their side works and their bullpens with just getting the big league uniform on, having 7-10 people standing behind you watching.
Cameras and
yep, it is
radar guns.
It is a good, prerequisite to dealing with pressure.
And he drops a back foot breaker. Delmonico able to lay off. Count evens 2-2. It's an interesting, different kind of pressure, isn't it? With all those cameras and all those coaches, and then all the people surrounding a lot of the bullpen mounds. Just fans.
It's like a golfer who hits it offline and is in the rough, and all the fans are kind of all around them, kind of watching them come back into play. Where if they hit it in the middle of the fairway, it's just them and the caddy and maybe one cameraman. Well, the side works here in the big leagues are a group around you.
First tee is the worst tee. Up there by the clubhouse, everybody watching. Now the guys have already finished their round, sitting out, having a glass of water, watching you take your first tee shot. The worst. Don't look at me. Just drink your water and let me shank this. Another 3-2. Down the line, hooking fair this time. Cody Thomas over to cut it off. He comes up gunning late, and Delmonico with a 2-out double. It's his third hit of the day. In fact, he has all 3 hits for Chicago.
Fastball, just kind of center cut. This whole at bat really was some unbelievable pitches early in the count and then nothing exceptional late in the count to put him away. And kind of can reverse that. Use your basic and solid pitches to get ahead and then save some of those exceptional ones to put them away. It would be a completely different result.
Jacob Brugman, the pinch runner for Delmonico, gets a good spring training applause. And Mark Pryor out for a visit with USADA. Mentioned that USADA grew up admiring Pedro Martinez, emulating his stuff after him. He says now his favorite major leaguer to watch is Walker Buehler.
2 good role models. Can you imagine we're now to the point where Walker Buehler's old enough to be a role model?
Wow.
He used to be the guy that had the harnesses on, and here's our young and up-and-comer.
Daniel Pelka, the hitter with 2 gone in a scoreless 6th inning. On the ground to first, Tyler White to the bag, and USADA with a scoreless 6.
Good visit from Mark Pryor.
I'd say.
Offer drink rails and padded bar stools, and your ticket price includes food and beverage. For more information, visit Dodgers.com/home-run-seats.
The day is finished for Mookie Betts. He goes 2 for 3, and wow, he makes her day. Come to the game, go home with a Mookie Betts game used back. How cool.
Mookie better remember that bat has 2 hits in it.
That's right. Ian Hamilton into the game to pitch for the White Sox as Cody Thomas comes up to bat for LA. Replaced Bellinger earlier. So his first at bat today. Goes after the first pitch, launches a ball to left center field, and Cody Thomas with a home run. First run of the game comes on the first pitch of the 6th on a Thomas solo shot.
23 home runs last year in Tulsa, 76 RBIs, and he doesn't take but a half a second to swing at a pitch right there and hit it out of here.
They're not taking anything for granted.
Went a long way, but had a really good sound.
Luke Raley now took strike one. You know, Cody Thomas may not be a Dodger if not for Baker Mayfield.
Connect those dots, please.
Bounced first. I can't. I have to tell you that Andrew Vaughn's fielding that ground ball and flipped his in time to get Raley. I can tell you now, though. He was a quarterback at Oklahoma and lost the job to Baker Mayfield, who had transferred in from Texas Tech. And so then he started to devote his focus to baseball. But it wasn't until his junior season at Oklahoma that he really invested in baseball. And the Dodgers drafted him out of there, and you gave the numbers as he's climbed up the ladder. Making quite an impression. So thank you, Baker Mayfield. Base is empty, one gone. Tyler White looking at a ball.
He's played 437 minor league games, and he has 81 home runs. That's pretty good. It's about one every 12 to 14 at bats.
Just to give you some perspective on that, the greatest home run per at bat rate in Dodger history is one every 12 at bats. Max Muncy.
Figure with all these home run records we're hitting that the individual
those are, yeah, going up. Bellinger's second on the home run per at bat list. Gary Sheffield is third. 2-1.
That was an intimidating at bat against pitching against Gary Sheffield with his bat speed.
The way he wags it before you pitch.
The only good thing is that he was really a legitimate pull hitter. So when he hit it hard, a lot of times it wasn't back up the middle. But if you got him low and away and it coming back up the middle, that ball came back in a hurry.
It's like the bat was angry before you even delivered the pitch. I dare you to throw it to me.
I'll bet you his average exit velocity is right there with like the Bryce Harpers and others.
Three balls, one strike. White takes a high strike.
Be proud of me. I made it to this inning before I gave up the score sheet.
You currently folded it into a paper airplane.
Yep. Some fan is about to get a souvenir. Some people get the Mookie Betts autograph bat. Other people get the half-done score sheet from Oral Hershiser.
Which includes a few at-bats from that Mookie Betts bat. Big bounce it is short. Andrew Romine in the game. Throws low, and Vaughn makes a nice play. White, the second out. Here's Estevez. Young player out of Cuba that the Dodgers like a lot. Rocketed through the system. Each step that he's been one of the younger players and still has performed really well. Here goes. Oh, that's some tough camera work. That's incredible camera work. Oh my gosh, what is this? It's just falling on me.
Let's see if he opens it up.
Down
sees
the right field line. Rutherford over to watch it go foul.
I signed it. No,
he didn't want anything to do with
garbage. Little do they know if they saved it, it'd be worth less later.
Had no idea.
No. It's not a good end to the story.
Which must not have been a very good airplane.
I was afraid to make a good one. I wanted one that flew slow and not dive bomb people.
This is a soft landing for it. Estevez hits his ball high and deep to left. way back, and gone. The second home run of the inning, and the Dodgers lead 2-0. That was a skyscraper from Omar.
Very nice swing, loads up the backside, gets the head out. And this is a high arcing fly ball that gets into the bullpen.
So a 2-0 lead, and now Christian Santana tried to pick up a home run of his own, came up empty on a breaking pitch. You know, in a lot of ways, these are the parts of the spring training game where it really gets good, and these kids get an opportunity to come in a big league spring training game and show what they've got, and have moments like that, like Cody Thomas had to lead off the inning, like Omar Estevez has here. Names that a lot of us don't know when they come in, but incredible opportunities for them as they try to make their names into ones that we do know.
It changes their personalities. When they come into the dugout, they're just more relaxed. They're like, oh, I can perform here. You know, it's one thing to walk into a big league dugout and know that I'm going to be the guy that maybe comes in later and I'm not really on the roster. I'm a spring training invitee. But then all of a sudden you have success, and it's a lot quicker to become yourself and to really relax, and I don't have to worry about where I put my bat, make sure I don't get it away from where Cody is or what Justin Turner's is. You know, I don't have to walk around on eggshells. Just, okay, a little success. I kind of belong here. I'm just one of the guys.
On 2-2, Santana grounds it foul.
They
Look
are
out,
letting
Dino.
it go. Wow. That was one of our favorite broadcasts of last year when Dino was mic'd up.
We're going to do it again.
We need to get permission. That was a lot of fun.
By the way, happy 23rd birthday to the batter here, Christian Santana. Down swinging, and Dodgers down in the 6th, but they get the first 2 runs of the game. Solo home runs from Thomas and Estevez. Dodgers in front, go to the 7th. Joe Davis, Or Hershiser, Alana Rizzo, and on to pitch Parker Curry.
There's so much depth in the Dodger organization that even when youngsters come on that they've topped out at A-ball so far or AA, they are still high quality prospects. These are guys that would be at the cutting edge of other organizations. Here in the Dodger organization, they are top prospects, but there's a lot of top prospects also around them.
Strike one on Yermin Mercedes. In the case of Parker Curry, is in an organization with a billion prospects, and he's gone from undrafted to somebody that's done enough to make appearances in big league spring training games. They gave him these opportunities last year as well. Spent last year in AA Tulsa. Split between the pen and the rotation. Brings a 1-1. And it's hit hard. Deep to left center. Mercedes opens the scoring for the White Sox with a mammoth home run. And a 2-1 game in the 7th. It's the first hit of the day for the White Sox from somebody other than Nicky Delmonico. Rest of the team had been 0 for 16.
Well, the big fella picked on a high off-speed pitch. Looked like it just kind of floated in there down the middle. Supposed to be a changeup down maybe, and it looks like it just stays up. Supplied most of the power because that was not a high velocity pitch.
So it's 2-1. Here's Andrew Vaughn looking at ball one. Nice pitch, 1-1.
That's the changeup in the location he was looking for. Down by the knees, pull the string so the bat goes out front and goes over top of it. You leave it up, and the off speed, there's still enough swing to get some of it.
Two balls, two strikes. Deep left center. Kendall will turn and watch that one hit off the top of the wall. Vaughn to second with a ringing double, and some loud contact for the White Sox off Curry here in the seventh.
Another elevated off-speed pitch. You see almost the same height, a little bit lower, but cutting through the middle of the plate until the bat contacted it.
Vaughn's day is finished. White Sox put the tying run in scoring position. With nobody out in the seventh, it's Madrigal. Oh, and 1. Curry home with the 1-1 pitch. Madrigal takes that change in the dirt and ahead 2-1. White Sox carrying the game on TV today too. Got the visit with Jason Benetti and Steve Stone, their television crew. Slap to second, and so Madrigal moves the runner up, and Estevez throws to first to get the first out of the inning.
Steve Stone back in 1980 was the starting pitcher in the All-Star game, the last All-Star game that was played at Dodger Stadium. He faced J.R. Richards. So Steve was reminiscing about that, knowing that the All-Star game was at Dodger Stadium this year. I said, has Major League Baseball called and asked you to come host any luncheons yet? Any dinners around the All-Star game?
Tying run at third, as it's grounded foul by Matt Skoll. Sure is going to be awesome, isn't it? Having the game's biggest stars come to the City of Stars in Los Angeles for the Futures game, celebrity softball game on Sunday. Home run derby on Monday. Dodgers have had some really memorable home run derby performances in recent seasons. And then the Midsummer Classic on that Tuesday night.
Jock Peterson still a Dodger. Might be in that.
That was awesome last summer, wasn't it? Him and
oh, they were
Vlad Jr.
They were going at it. Maybe Cody will be in it this year. Maybe Mookie. Who knows? All Dodger home run derby.
Muncy's been in it before. There's that changeup for Curry, getting a nice swing and a miss. It's the same changeup that Parker Curry's thrown since he was 9 years old. His dad had him throw that as his off-speed pitch until he was 13 or 14 when he started to incorporate a breaking ball with his arm health in mind. 2-2. Now, research is actually from very high-level sports scientist people has actually proven that there is no direct connection between throwing a breaking ball at a young age and arm problems. There is a connection between throwing a breaking ball improperly and arm problems. Parker Curry off of the mound makes a nice play, and an even better one by Tyler White, stepping across the baseline to pull it in.
The kids that throw breaking balls, though, they pitch more. Because so the more wear and tear, so it's not that particular pitch. I think it's the overuse of successful kids that then say, oh, this must be the breaking ball. But if they didn't throw the breaking ball, they probably wouldn't be as successful, so they wouldn't pitch as many innings and be the guy that's called on without, you know, the shorter rest.
Tying run at third, 2 gone, and Blake Rutherford lifts the ball to right field, sending Thomas back at the wall. Cody Thomas, did he do it? You bet he did. Have a day in a big league spring training game, Cody Thomas. A home run, and now a home run robbery.
Get up, get up, get up, yeah. Wow, he used all of it.
The Dodgers won in what has turned into a very exciting last couple of innings in this, the Cody Thomas game.
Right? Hit the home run on the very first pitch you see, go oppo, and then save that home run right there with the very last inch of his glove. Pretty nice.
What an incredible memory for him. I mean, you come over here trying to make an impression as a minor leaguer playing on a big league spring training game, and you don't just hit a home run, but you make an incredible defensive play like that. It's going to be as good of a home run robbery as we see all year.
Probably will be. And not as significant, but maybe the best.
It keeps the Dodgers in front 2-1. And it allows Parker Curry to wiggle off of the hook there. Give up the solo home run to start the inning, and a double immediately followed that. Was able to get out of it with no more damage as Cody Hewer comes in for Chicago. Zach Rex, the hitter. Strike 1.
For fans and others that are trying to get flights at the end of the day here, that kind of helps it if the Dodgers don't have to bat in the bottom of the 9th. Saves a little time.
Although Monday traffic, man.
That's true.
Pop up. Down the line for Skoll. 1 out.
Are you headed home for a few days?
I am, yep.
Good for you.
You and I will be together again, I believe, March 6th.
6, 7, 8, and 9. Thanks for the warning.
Jacob Amaya stands in.
But every game's going to be on TV.
It will. Tim Neverett and Rick Monday doing many of those. Alana Rizzo most days there as well. One ball, no strikes. Upcoming schedule, Dodgers at the Diamondbacks tomorrow. Beautiful facility over there. They share with the Colorado Rockies. And as Alana reported, Clayton Kershaw and Walker Buehler not too far off from making their spring training debuts.
a little more anticipation for the beginning of the season when nobody's really being slow played. We've already seen Kenley, and he's real excited and up and throwing, and Clayton is full bore. So is Walker Buehler, Julio Urias. So it's kind of fun.
Amaya, we talk about these big moments in a big league spring training game that we just saw Cody Thomas have. Well, Amaya on one of the backfields yesterday during Clayton Kershaw's live BP homered against Kershaw.
Get the ball.
Right. You wouldn't blame him one bit.
No. Can you imagine to be a minor leaguer and, you know, I hit a home run off of Cy Young. I hit a home run off of Nolan Ryan in a spring training. Hey, I hit a home run off of Sandy Koufax. Yeah, I would get the ball.
3 balls, 1 strike. Yeah, it's on the corner, and it's 3-2. Amaya takes the walk.
Even if you didn't have good big league or minor league numbers and you weren't a prospect, but you were chosen to be in a live VP when Clayton was throwing and Walker Buehler, and you hit a home run, that would immediately make you a prospect. No matter what your numbers were, you're going to get another opportunity.
It's a way to catch attention, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Here's Gale. Rocky Gale had one of the most impressive defensive plays we've seen in the first 3 days of spring training in Scottsdale on Saturday. Playing catcher on a breaking pitch down and away, backhanded it in the other batter's box, and still threw the runner out at second.
It turned into almost like a wrong foot play from a shortstop, but from behind the plate and a quick snap throw. They had to play the tail on that throw too. Had a little curvature to it. Starting to warm up here in Arizona. We got 70 today.
Yeah.
Well, yesterday we were more closer into the 60s. 80s are on the horizon.
Good thing for you. You're running out of button downs, huh?
Oh, I'm going to have to go to the dry cleaner to get the warm clothes cleaned up.
A pop-up on the right side of the infield. Ramon Torres in the game at second. Puts that away. Gale is out number 2.
I packed for 80 to 90 degrees, and we've 50s and 60s.
And rain.
Yeah.
Rain all day on Saturday. Or most of the day. Jaron Kendall climbs in for the Dodgers. Up 2-1 in the bottom of the 7th. Talking about all the Vanderbilt products in terms of pitchers in the Dodger organization. Kendall, an outfielder out of Vanderbilt. Strike 1. You were talking about Mookie Betts taking some of the younger guys aside in outfield work earlier on in camp. Kendall was one of those guys. Here in an 0-1 pitch, he fouls it off and it's 0-2.
A lot of times you don't find out what it really takes to be a big leaguer on a daily basis, and the work and the passion and the focus, until you actually become a big leaguer and get in that culture. It is so nice to see big leaguers transfer that information, not just of how to do something, but how to continue to do it on a daily basis, and how much they concentrate. There's this image, I think, of people that have not played in the big leagues that, oh, they're all naturally gifted and it all just comes so easy to them, and they forget the work component and the daily grind component that the big leaguers put in. And even for a minor leaguer, as a fan, as a minor league player but wanting to be a big leaguer but still a baseball fan, it's a good thing in Major League camp to work right alongside the big leaguers and to understand, oh, I've got to upgrade my effort. I've got to upgrade my attention to detail, because for these guys to do as consistent as they do on the big stage, I might as well develop that work ethic when I'm not on the big stage.
Consistently tight today from Ryan Blakeney. It's good news for Jeren Kendall. Stays alive at 2-2. Kendall rated as the #1 athlete in the Dodger minor league system. He was the first-round pick back in 2017. On this 2-2 pitch, he takes strike 3. So we're through 7 innings in Glendale. The Dodgers holding on to a 2-1 lead today and getting a great hand between innings. Maury Wills and Tommy Lasorda. Michael Boyle comes in to pitch for LA. They lead this one 2-1. And a pair of solo home runs. Omar Estevez and Cody Thomas both hitting solo shots in the 6th inning. That's ball 1 on Luis Gonzalez. The Dodgers had 2 MVPs in the lineup today, with Mookie Betts hitting leadoff, Cody Bellinger hitting 3rd. The last time in a regular season game that the Dodgers had multiple MVPs in the lineup, Maury Wills was one of them. In 1972, Wills played just a few games, and Frank Robinson was also in the lineup in those few games in his lone season with the Dodgers. More the 1962 MVP. If you think Orel's been quiet, this is why. Who knew that he could teletransport? And magic, he's back.
I hadn't seen Maury. I said, Maury, when did you get in? He goes, I just got in. Tommy invited me in and came over. I'm like, Skip probably sent his own plane to get him.
The mouse that roared, Maury Wills.
I love Maury Wills. Maury taught me how to bunt. The Maury Wills bunting area is still here at spring training. Originated in Vero Beach. Great man, sweet spirit.
Or in an era where offense is hard to come by, his speed, game altering, franchise altering, really. Dodgers are built on such good pitching in the 1960s and scoring just enough. And Maury was a big part of that.
I said hi to him, and then he goes, "Where are you going?" I go, I'm on TV. I gotta go.
You can't be on TV. You're in the suite.
Tommy wanted to grab me and tell a story about something. I was like, "No, Skip, I gotta go."
Casey Stengel once said about Maury Wills, the most amazing slider I've ever seen, as in,
yeah,
as a base stealer.
Right. He could steal a base when everybody in the ballpark knew he was going. Mm-hmm. They would chant his name. And that's when you know you are a top-notch, elite base stealer. When the pitcher, the catcher, all the fans, all the coaches, everybody knows you're running. And you still make it.
He helped kind of bring stolen bases back into the game. Not just talking about the Dodgers going to be defined by his ability to do that in the 60s, but 1961, average number of stolen bases in a National League season, the previous few years, 300. Okay, Maury wins the MVP in 1962, and by the 1970s, there were 1,000 stolen bases a year in the league. Of course, we've seen the stolen base come and go in importance and in priority. No longer a huge part of the game. Teams don't want to give up outs on the bases with the proliferation of home runs. Run yourself out of a run before somebody runs into one. 3-2. And some talk of some rule changes, though, to try and inject some more base running and stolen bases back into the game. They're going to toy around with in the minors.
And they're toying around with pickoff moves, and if you can even pick off, but you might be able to hold runners close, but you have to deliver the ball once you move home. No more picking off. You can step off, you have to disengage if you want to pick off, but if you lift your kick leg at all, you're going home. And that would bring the stolen base back into the game.
You like that idea?
It's an interesting idea. I'd like to see how it works. It's going to be, there's a few repercussions to it other than just the rules and bringing the stolen base in, because first thing you do when you know that disengaging, meaning the foot on the rubber has to then step backwards before you can throw the ball to a base, compared to your kick leg, which is your free leg out front. As soon as that moves, you have to go home. So now, instead of being an elite runner that would steal bags, it would come down to probably average runners could steal a bag pretty easily. So then the pitcher's going to.
There's a bouncer ranging to his right to make the play. It was Estevez.
The pitcher's going to then think about even more speeding up his delivery, and I hope we don't have the repercussion of hurting people's arms. Definitely then going to help the hitter, because the pitcher might have a little less stuff if he doesn't understand how to incorporate leverage into his delivery as he comes set into his set position. If he has other movements that he's eliminating to be quick, he's going to have less stuff, less velocity, less spin on the ball, usually elevate the ball a little bit more where it's easier to hit. So it's a whole ball of wax of what could happen other than just bring the stolen base involved. And it'll be interesting to see how the players adapt.
What's going to be tricky about it is that it's just the lower level of the minors, and what happens when you get promoted to the league where that's not the rule. Yeah, that's funky for a pitcher. Mid-season, have to change that.
Well, and you're talking about top prospects that you might invest a lot of money in, and all of a sudden you're asking them to be really quick because the rule is once you move your kick leg, you got to go home. You're risking in the midst of development, adding another maybe a little high-risk area for quality arms. But I think that the coaching will develop too. I don't like the slide step. I don't like the vernacular of the slide step. I don't like people teaching a slide step. I wish they would teach a preload. And what I mean by a preload is that when a pitcher comes set right there, it is not a relaxed position. The muscles and the frame of the body should already be engaged in what it's going to take to throw the baseball. So if you end up needing a hip turn, you might want to preset your hip turn. If you're going to end up needing a shoulder turn once you move, you might want to preset that. And you definitely want to preset your back leg and the power you want in it. But just to come set and relax and just stand and then have to engage all those things, a hip turn, a shoulder turn, and the engagement of your legs as far as power, and then you will start eliminating all those things, not doing them to their full potential, and then putting more pressure on your arm. It's definitely possible to deliver a ball to home plate in under 1 second if you preset and preload part of your delivery. But if you don't, and if you're just relaxed and think, oh, I'm just coming set and then I'll pitch when I start to move, that's really hard to do at full potential.
Boyle got a strikeout, now delivers strike one to Daniel Palka.
The faster the runner was when I pitched, the more parts of my body I preloaded. Preload the hip turn, preload the length of my stride, preload the shoulder turn, preload the weight on the inside of my back leg for sure.
So if Maury had been on the bases while you were pitching, you would have had everything loaded up.
Yep, spread out. Instead of having my feet about a foot to a foot and a quarter apart, I probably have them about 3.5 feet apart as I come set, so almost wide, a little wider, and getting the load on the inside of the back leg, presetting my hip turn and the separation with the shoulder turn, so that if you just handed me a ball on a table behind me, I could reach and grab it and throw it without even moving any part of my body other than going forward. And a lot of the guys that were quick to the plate with good stuff, they could do that.
The ugly swing and a miss, tied him up to get ahead 1-2.
Slide step in a lot of pitchers' minds that don't know what you want me to do other than you gave me the sign to slide step. So watch this little high breaking ball that he tried to check, couldn't. The slide step in a lot of people's mind means just quickly slide step, and none of the things above that get done.
Boyle back-to-back Ks to finish off this 8th inning. The Dodgers have a 2-1 lead.
National League MVP award. Now you can fill your bobblehead collection. The first 40,000 fans in attendance on Monday, March 30th versus the Rockies receive a Bellinger bobblehead commemorating his award-winning trifecta. Presented by Bank of America. For tickets, visit Dodgers.com/promotions.
Jacob Lindgren into the game for Chicago with the Dodgers ahead 2-1 to the bottom of the 8th. The White Sox are going to be interesting this year. They've been rebuilding and rebuilding and rebuilding in some really low seasons. 7 consecutive losing seasons for the first time since the mid-70s. But they had a 10-win improvement last year. They had a batting champ in Tim Anderson. They've had some really nice additions. Yasmani Grandal will be at the White Sox. You saw Edwin Encarnacion today. Traded for Nomar Mazara, who they still have hopes for become a really, really good major league player. That's strike 1 on Cody Thomas. Dallas Keuchel, Gio Gonzalez added to the rotation, and they've got a really good farm system that they've continued to supplement that major league roster with. Last postseason trip for the White Sox, 2008.
They should score a lot of runs.
Yep.
Could have some big arms in the bullpen at the back end. They'll need to fill in the rest of the bullpen. It'll be interesting to see what response they get from some of these veterans in the rotation. The one thing for pitching for a strong offense, and you have a veteran that is used to winning and maybe having a lower ERA than he's normally having, but they're battlers. They understand that there's some patience to, if I give up 3 runs in the first or the second, my offense is going to come back. Where younger pitchers that don't have that resume and that experience, they have a tendency to spiral down, and then the whole outing kind of melts away. Where the veteran has lived through the rough struggles in the early part of a game and then hung in there and gone 6 or 7, given up 4 or 5, and win the game 7-5, win the game 8-5.
2-2. Look out. Cody Thomas a marked man now after his home run and his home run robbery. Spilled him a couple times.
Definitely leading the pack as player of the game right now,
I would say. On a payoff pitch, Thomas swings and foul tips it into the glove, strike 3. 26 teams, Oral, have gone to the postseason since the White Sox last did. Can you name the 3 franchises that haven't gone since they did in 08?
The Marlins.
1. One National League team, 1 American League team on top of that.
The National League team. Padres.
Got it. Luke Raley takes a strike.
And then the American League team that hasn't done it. In the East. In the Central.
Keep going.
Keep shake. Is there another division?
Yeah, right.
I was just kind of going into my head saying it out loud. I wasn't like. So it's in the West.
It is.
National League West. American League West.
Yep.
It's not Oakland. Anaheim. Not Anaheim. Who else?
We're just gonna
come on, Joe. You're leaving me hanging. I'm
Seattle
watching the game too. I was going to say them, but I was trying to think if they won or not. That was the very first team before Miami and before San Diego, and I just didn't let it come out of my mouth.
The record-setting team in 01. That's their last trip.
Wow, all the way back there.
It's amazing. We saw the Cubs yesterday and talking about how they're in this odd place right now where it's the same roster pretty much as last season, where they missed the postseason for the first time in 5 years. I think it's fair to say that I don't know if there's more buzz because It's hard to ever have more buzz in Chicago than the Cubs, but who is more exciting right now? Like, who is trending in the right direction? The White Sox arrow is pointing more up than the Cubs is. Specifically for 2020 and really for the foreseeable future. Really turns on a ball, yanks it over right, over Adolfo, and Raley's got himself a double.
Good stroke right here. Stayed with it, a little out in front, a little wide, but he's had enough swing, the bat and hitting area a long time to drive that ball to the right fielder. I'll tell you, the size in the Dodger organization continues even when the minor leaguers start to play. I mean, it doesn't like go from, oh, the big leaguers and they're the big guys. We got some big, strong guys coming out of the minor league system.
And here's Tyler White. Yeah, Luke Raley listed 6'4", 235. Some great sounds coming off of the bat. And some of these late game substitutions for the Dodgers this afternoon. Their 2 runs on solo homers, Cody Thomas and Omar Estevez, both in the 6th. 0-1 to White.
You know, when you're asking me about who hasn't been to the playoffs since the White Sox, the 3 teams, you know, the most embarrassing thing of not doing that quickly?
There's nothing embarrassing.
Well, behind you, the whole crew is like shaking their head like, no, Earl, that's wrong. No, Earl, that's wrong. It was not bad just talking to you if we were just alone, but to have the whole crew shaking their head at you, it's not good.
They might have had the answer key, though.
They
were put on the spot.
Computers.
Raley at second, 1 gone. Here's a 1-2. Where's yours? Where's your computer? You normally have one out during the game, no? Is that a regular season computer?
Yeah.
Still building up?
It's still in getting in shape.
Yeah. In the backfield
Spring
today.
training for my computer. It's in the cage. So has a side work tomorrow.
Yeah.
Hit the ball! Fair! Come on!
White strokes it on the ground as second. Ramon Torres struggled initially, but recovered in time to get White.
I think that bat was shattered.
Two out, and here's Estevez, whose home run gave the Dodgers a 2-0 lead. Talking about those good sounds today. It's maybe the loudest crack of the bat all afternoon. His home run.
Omar got all this one. And he needed to because of the trajectory. You need some exit velocity with that launch angle.
Chopper to third. Matt Skoll on a tough bounce makes a nice play. They get Estevez and finish the Dodgers in the 8th. Last chance for the White Sox coming up. 9th inning, an appearance. The Dodgers lead the White Sox 2-1, and Ben Holmes comes on to try and finish it. Abbreviated 2019 because of an oblique injury. Long minor league career for him, 7 minor league seasons. After he was drafted the 9th round in 2014 out of Oregon State, one of the best baseball programs at the college level. Lone run for the White Sox today came on a home run from this man, Yermin Mercedes. 1 ball, no strikes. That's a strike, and it's 2-1.
Ben Holmes will be in the mix in the AA and AAA possible rotation spots, but here in the 9th, called on upon to get a save here today.
Nice pitch. 2-2.
Got a changeup that he'll throw to both right-handed and left-handed hitters. He's got good life on his fastball up. Throws a cut fastball, which we've already seen a couple of. That's a nice little breaking ball. Had an oblique that kind of shut him down last year, shortened the season.
Muscled up the middle and through for Mercedes. Leadoff man aboard for the White Sox in the 9th. And Ramon Torres stands in. Oh, and 1.
Left.
That's it off of the glove of Holmes, and his second Estevez gets the tag for the out. Estevez and Thomas have stolen the show for the Dodgers today, both sides of things.
Double play ball, whether it's caught cleanly at the mound or let through up the middle. They were pinched up the middle. Estevez would have got this ball and had a double play, but the deflection slows it down, but they do record the leading lady.
Upstairs on Torres. Beg your pardon, Gavin Sheets. Hey, I want to make a correction from earlier. We said Jacob Amaya was the one who homered against Kershaw.
Okay.
It was actually Anthony Garcia.
Right.
In the live BP the other day. So it's Anthony Garcia that hopefully retrieved the ball.
And he's the prospect.
Now, yeah.
Change the reports.
That is rifled down the line to right. Over to cut it off is Thomas. And it'll be first and third with 1 gone as the White Sox threaten here in the 9th inning.
Wants it down, it ends up, and he swats at it. Ball was ripped. A little bit of a shift over there. You got to hit it really hard to get it through that infield.
Two-1 game, first and third, 1 out. Here's Matt Skoll. Wouldn't this be a nice time for a ground ball? Left-hander begins left-hander. Here comes Holmes. Strike 1.
A DP lane right here would bring the crowd to the feet, keep the Dodgers undefeated.
On pace to go about 195-0. Oh, and 2. Which I believe, I haven't checked, but I think it would be a record.
Yeah. Well, you get backed against the wall here with a 2-1 game, and you give up the line drive on a high fastball, but come right back with 2 good pitches at the knees, make a 3rd one.
It did, and it was spoiled by Skoll. We'll do the 0-2 again.
He got half the equation right there. You're trying to go low and away. He got the low part with the breaking ball, but it still stayed to the inner half of the plate, gave him a chance to touch it. They're like fastball low and away, about 6-8 inches off the plate here. And if you do throw the breaking ball again, bounce it. Or you can come up and in.
Right on the knuckles.
He's got good swing and miss stuff up in the strike zone, a lively fastball. Hitter guarding against the strikeout. Get him to start the bat and make it a ball.
Down the line, hooking, foul. That one's down the line as well, and it is fair. 1 run is in to tie the game. Here's the relay to the plate. It is in time to keep it tied at 2. Thomas and Estevez hooking up this time to cut down the potential go-ahead run.
Ben Holmes in another 0-2 count, trying to get it done. Can't get the ball down and away, gives up this, but the defense really picks him up to keep this a tie game. A nice relay exchange, good tag. Very well done with the pressure in the game on the line.
So it stays tied at 2 as Nicker Adolfo comes up and fouls back the first one. So the Dodgers getting 2 runs in the 6th. The Sox tying it with a run in the 7th and a run in the 9th. Here's Holmes' 0-1 pitch. That's in there for strike 2 from a guy who grew up on a farm in Oregon, dreaming of being a pitcher and honing his control by pitching through a tire hung from a rope attached to the barn. The rope that he used to hang the tire came from a prize pack that he got for being sheep showing champion at the local fair. Clackamas, Oregon, on to Corvallis at Oregon State, one of the best pitchers in the country there for the Beavers. Here's another 0-2, and he gets Adolfo swinging to finish off the 9th. White Sox tie it. Dodgers will try to win it in the bottom half. Hit here, tied at 2. Christian Santana to lead it off.
2-0-1 or 3-0. 2 possible records after the first 3 games here in the Cactus League. They broke out the bats in game 1, scored 10. They had 4 yesterday, 1. Only 2 so far here today.
Santana, then Rex, and then Amaya coming up here. Second at bat today for Santana. Struck out his first time. Swats the first pitch of the inning to right. But it dies in the glove of Adolfo. Wilkin Cannon, the pitcher for Chicago, was not on the roster. He's wearing 92. They'll qualify him as our first JIC of the day, just in case. Really good numbers for him in A-ball, though. Sub-2.
58 innings, 71 strikeouts. Only gave up 4 home runs. Very nice.
One gone for Rex. Who takes a strike. And tomorrow, Tim Neverett and Rick Monday will have the call for you as the Dodgers go to take on the Diamondbacks. Look out. That'll scatter him. Make you rethink where you stand. One, two. Rex down swinging. And 2 up, 2 down here in the ninth. So up to Amaya to try and win this one for the Dodgers, or at least extend it. Give somebody else an opportunity to win it. Still get a point for a tie. Right?
Since we're in hockey season, yes.
Yep.
We're not going to a shootout, though.
About 3-on-3.
3-on-3 is awesome. When can you have 4-on-3 in overtime? When there's a penalty.
Is that how they do it?
Yeah, they don't go to 3-on-2.
That would be tiring for those couple guys.
You can have 4-on-3 and 5-on-3 if there's 2 minor penalties.
1-1 to Amaya. 1 and 2. Do you think we'll see baseball extra innings altered eventually? So that's obviously something that's been discussed.
I gotta believe we could get there.
Yeah.
Man on second, no out. Interesting stress on a pitching staff, because if you get to the extra innings and then all of a sudden you create these situations where you wish you could have matchup, but then all of a sudden you got the 3-batter minimum. So who do you save for those extra inning possibilities?
Into right center field, Adolfo makes the play. So it looks like this is going to end in a tie. We're not certain whether or not they may continue to play. It sounds like officially they are going to end the game in a 2-2 tie. Looks like there's kind of just looked back and forth between the two dugouts. You good? We're good. If you're good, we're good.
Little wave of each manager's hand at each other. Umpires leave home plate, walk down the left field line. Game over.
They settle for a 2-2 tie. Well, for all Hershiser, Alana Rizzo, and the rest of our crew, Joe Davis saying so long from here in Glendale. And the Dodgers and White Sox, they share this facility. They share the final score, 2-2. Join us at noon tomorrow. Tim Neverett takes over along with Rick Monday as the Dodgers face the Diamondbacks live on Sportsnet LA.
Yep.